Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Glad to have you hanging out a little bit with me here. I hope you're doing well. November 5th, the same day this video is posted to the channel, we got the announcement from PGI and MW5 Clans for a new DLC, Wolves of Tukayed. Tukayed. We'll circle back to that in a little bit. This is Clan Wolf DLC from MW5 Clans, which is really cool. And so I want to go over the limited stuff they tell us thus far. It's the initial announcement. So I want to break down what they tell us and give some thoughts on that, as well as maybe speculate and guesstimate some stuff to happen as well. And I encourage you to do so as well in the comment section. So definitely share your thoughts, not just on what I'm saying, but your own thoughts and your own theories. Share them in the comment section. And while doing so, consider alpha striking that subscribe button and hitting that bell. It's free and easy to do, and it's honestly going to be your best bet at YouTube, letting you know when future videos are posted or when I do occasionally go live. And speaking about going live, this is November 5th, this video is going up. So the very next day, November 6th, I will be continuing my MW5 Clan Smoke Jaguar Advanced Mission Parameter Tonnage playthrough. I hope you will join me to hang out and just chit chat for a bit. So hope to see you there. With that said, this might go a little long, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down what they tell us, and then we'll speculate. So to do that, I'll get rid of this ugly cam. That way we can see the website in its full glory. And yes, this is just a website in F11 mode, because I am grassroots. That's how this whole channel is. So thanks so much for hanging out, and let's get to it. Wolves of Tukayed. I don't know how to say that. That little short video has no sound. So I still don't know how to say it. At least it didn't have any sound for me, which is weird. But anyways, maybe in their, what do you call it, teaser trailer, they'll say the world's name, and then I'll just use that as a way in which I'll say it in the future. But until then, I'm not really sure if it's Tukid, or something else entirely. But I've never, to my knowledge, heard it said, and if so, I don't remember. So with that said, let's get right to it, and then we can speculate and everything else. So this is a new campaign, of course. We have December 4th, by the way, is the release for this MW5 Clans DLC for Clan Wolf. Looking forward to that. Kind of wish it was one day late than that, because that's a Thursday, I believe. And so if it was December 5th, it would be a full month out. Not that that's a big deal. And it would be on a Friday, so I could do a crazy stream with it. But I'll do what I can. In any case, we have a story here. Obviously, we're going to get a new story since we're a whole different clan. This campaign, timeline-wise, is focusing on the end of Operation Revival. The Battle of Takayud, or whatever, that's the last battle of the invasion, really. After that, the invasion's halted, right? That's the end of it. Spoilers, but it's been in the lore for decades, so not really. But anyway, so we're there. We're at the end, which is surprising because we haven't had a Jade Falcon DLC, which I thought would happen first, but I'll get to that speculation after wrapping everything up here. So story-wise, Comstar, after the Battle of Luthien, finally finds out the real objective of the clans, which is surprising that they couldn't pick up on it before this. They are supposed to be the intel people, but whatever. Clan Wolf's Ilkhan, or Ilkhan, I should say, Ulrich Kerensky, right? Flat out tells them he's the Ilkhan after Leo Showers died. So after the Battle of Luthien, at some point, he just flat out tells them that, yeah, we're seeking to conquer Terra, by the way. And I think he did that specifically to gauge their reaction and see what they would do. I think there's a lot of politicking and motives going on, and that's in the lore. It's been in the lore for decades, but I think that's the whole setup, or all the reasoning behind that setup. But yeah, to not figure it out until you flat out were told, this seems kind of crazy to me, considering the clans aren't exactly holding it close to their chest as a secret. But anyways, with that said, Ilkan Lukarensky basically then accepts an agreement with Comstar for a massive trial style combat to determine the fate of Terra on a different world. In this case, Takayid. Well, I shouldn't say in this case, because it's always this case, but yeah. So this trial is being fought as a proxy fight off world to not damage Terra, basically. And to do that, we are going to be a part of the 13th Wolf Guards of Clan Wolf. This unit was formed by Natasha Kerensky, in case you couldn't tell, right there. But that's really cool. Now, the 13 Wolf Guards, just like the Silverroot Keshik, is a big unit. It's not just 1 star. So our exact role in it and whatever else, I don't really know. We'll find out. But it is cool that it's yet again another canon unit. Since the beginning with the 362nd of Clan Smoke Jaguar, and then the Silverroot Keshik of Ghost Bear, and now here with the 13th Wolf Guards, we've been part of a canon unit, what I think is cool. Of course, our particular star and our character and everything isn't necessarily going to be a canon character. But it's cool that we're part of a canon unit and they're keeping that going with this unit. If you know anything about the 13 Wolf Guards, there's a lot of stuff kind of in the lore with these guys, insofar as them and Clan Wolf, and then the eventual Clan Wolf in Exile. I won't say too much more here, but I will be doing a lore video on the units that we've been a part of in MW5 Clans, so that'll be fun. Or lore videos, I should say, one for each of the units so far. But we are going to be part of the 13 Wolf Guards, the 13th Wolf Guards, and we're going to be playing through a 20 mission campaign complete with cinematic storytelling and everything else, like we've seen. That's interesting. Plus, it's going to help shape the fate of Clan Wolf, which is also interesting. Makes me wonder if maybe some of these missions won't purely be the final battle of Takayid. If maybe we have either some preamble setup or some post-amble, if you will, missions to help this whole fate of Clan Wolf thing. But while fighting on Takayid, we're facing off against Comguard, and only the Comguard. We haven't seen them yet in MW5 Clans. Lore-wise, the clans have scuffled with them, if that's the way to say it, by accident a few times, which always was a complete destruction of the Comguard unit in question. So that's not a real representation, though. The Comguard is quite a massive military force, and they're going to be amassing together to face off against the clans in this final battle. So that's really cool. That's just like the lore said. And so basically, new unit to face, which means we're going to be facing off against some decent technology by Inner Sphere standards anyway. But we have new mechs, because of course we do. It's a DLC. A big part of DLCs is mechs. Well, that's one of the big draws for it. We're getting 6 as opposed to 8. Not a big deal. We're also getting 20 missions as opposed to 12. So, just be happy for once, internet. Good luck with that. Anyways, I am surprised, though. This is a Clan Wolf DLC, and there's no Orion 2C in the standard battle mechs. The Orion 2C, I thought, would have been a shoo-in, considering their reverence for Kerensky blood name and the fact that Kerensky favored the Orion. You'd think the Orion 2C, the clan version of the Orion, would be here. But it's not. Instead, we have the Bane, which is wide and capable. Should be a lot of fun ballistic builds with that. We have the Shadowhawk 2C, which is looking great. And we have the Incubus, which has been around for a bit in MechWarrior Online and looking great. We also have 3 Omni-Mechs. I'm just going to go right to it. The Naga. This is an assault mech, and this is not a part of MechWarrior Online. In fact, not only is it not a part of MechWarrior Online, it's not a mech I thought we'd see, because it's A, not a part of MechWarrior Online, and thus far every mech we've seen has been, and B, its main weapon system, despite being an Omni-Mech, has always been the Arrow 4 missile artillery system, which is not in MechWarrior 5 Clans, and to my understanding, not in MechWarrior Online. So they had to both make a chassis and introduce a weapon system that hasn't been in MechWarrior 5 or stuff yet at all, which is really cool. I wasn't necessarily expecting that because we haven't done that yet, but here they are doing it, and I think that's great. So this does open the door, right? This one mech opens the door now for other chassis to follow in the future if they so desire. A door that I didn't know if it would be open or not. So I think that's cool. And a little bit unexpected, which is always a little bit of extra fun. We have the Ice Ferret and Medium Mech, which I think is a pretty cool mech. And we have the Linebacker. Yep. This has also been in MechWare Online. The only one that hasn't been in MechWare Online is the Naga. If you don't know the Linebacker, lore-wise, it was slated to eventually replace the Timberwolf. Don't say that too loud. Obviously, it never happened, and the Timberwolf is far too iconic now. But lore-wise, the idea was that this lighter mech would replace the Timberwolf eventually, so it could keep pace with smaller, faster units better. But as we know, the Timberwolf is still alive and well in the BattleTech lore, so didn't quite replace it. Anyways, this mech is also one that makes me have some ponderings in regards to this DLC and what have you. And we'll come back to that. As I mentioned, we have a new weapon, the Arrow 4 missile artillery system. You shoot out one missile, and I like the way they animate it here. So you shoot out one missile with the Arrow 4, it's not a barrage. But in this case, they have it then shoot up and then come crashing down. It's an artillery missile. It's supposed to hit for massive damage, and it's supposed to have really good range. We've seen it in MechWarrior 2 and haven't seen it really since. So it's really cool that we get to see it again. I really hope it's not going to fall prey to anti-missile systems. I hope it's basically immune because you're firing out one missile at a time and it takes a bit. So it'd be a real shame if it just was shot out of the sky all willy-nilly without issue. So we'll have to see. I imagine they're going to take that into consideration because that'd be extra lame. If you look at the bottom of this little clip that they're showing us, however, and if you were paying attention to the Naga or the Linebacker, I believe, specifically the Linebacker image up top here, you will have noticed that we have elemental points, or a point of elemental still assigned to our star, so they're keeping that in check with MW5 Clans moving forward, which is pretty cool. We're also going to get the ability to call down an artillery barrage, which is going to be sweet, sweet revenge for all the times we had to dodge this between MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries and MechWarrior 5 Clans. So that's fun to be able to, deliver some payback. I wonder how cumbersome it'll be to use. I don't know, but it's looking really cool. So that's important too. And lastly, we have some free updates. I'm sure there'll be more than this, but I wanted to show this one right off the bat. Jump Jet Refractor or Refactor. I don't know if that's just their fancy way to say, hey, all jump jet units now have better vectored movement in terms of being in the air, as we can see in this little clip. I hope it's not upgrades you have to take. Hope it's just how jump jets work now. I wonder if it gives us a little bit extra time in the air. I don't know. But it looks really cool, and it seems very useful. And I'm all for both looking cool and seeming useful, so I'm looking forward to trying this out. I have to be better remembering I have jump jets and using them, though. I've always been bad with that. And here we have a Mech Lab update. This is going to basically introduce an expanded view, which is that. And then there's also supposedly going to be drag and drop, which I think can help speed up some build processes, which would be pretty cool. Always enjoy extra little free quality of life stuff like this. So I would imagine there's going to be a couple more than just this, but this is the initial announcement, and this is all we got to go on so far, and that's everything. So, December 4th, looking forward to it. I wishlisted this on Steam already. I suggest you do the same, or wherever you're going to play it. If you can wishlist or whatever, definitely would recommend to. So, speculation time. So, they talk about, obviously, in general, the whole fate of the clan invasion, which we know how that goes with Takayed. But they're also talking about, we're part of the 13th Wolf Guards. That has some lore implications to it itself. We're also going to be helping shape the fate of Clan Wolf. If you don't know, at this time, Clan Wolf, while considered a warden clan, and the leader of the warden clan concept, internally has strife, as the warden philosophy and the crusader philosophy have been bumping heads more and more, with more and more wolves becoming crusader themed aligned. in their viewpoint. This is causing tension and issues in the clan internally. So I'm wondering if that's what they're alluding to here, because eventually we'll have Clan Wolf and then Clan Wolf in exile, and the 13th Wolf Guards go the exile route, the Warden route. So I'm wondering if this 20 mission campaign is going to help set that up a little bit for the future. The reason why I bring that up is because the linebacker is a mech that would become heavily associated with Clan Wolf in exile specifically. So kind of adding it here, I wonder if they just did that because A, it fits, and B, maybe to kind of put that lore little extra bit of detail in there. I don't know. If so, very cool. And it made me think about it at the very least. So mission accomplished either way, I suppose. Now, before I wrap things up here, this concept of being at Takayid or Tukayid or whatever as Clan Wolf is more or less what I expected to happen with this battle. They do the best of all the clans at Takayid, so might as well use them to show it. However, I was also somewhat presuming that PGI would stay in Operation Revival for the 4 big clans, the 4 original clans, I should say. Obviously, Smoke Jaguar started the game. Then we have Ghost Bear. So that left Wolf here and Jade Falcon. And I was expecting Jade Falcon to happen before this DLC if they were staying specifically in Operation Revival. With Takayid happening in 3052 and 3052 being the end of the clan invasion, more or less, that definitely seems to not be the case. It seems like they are going beyond the clan invasion, which totally works because the clan invasion era actually goes from 3050 to 3061. It's just Operation Revival itself ends in 3052. Lots of numbers here, but hopefully you're bearing with me. So, my guess now is that this is going to set up eventually more or less MechWarrior 2 plot, and I think Jade Falcon's DLC is more or less going to be the MechWarrior 2 plot, which would be pretty cool to see if it is. So that happens in like 3057 or whatever. So regardless of whether or not we go anywhere past Battle of Takayid in this campaign, I feel like things are going to be set in motion via cinematics and via lore drops and Easter egg drops in the game, if not straight up in certain missions and whatever else, alluding to both Clan Wolf in Exile eventually and to the Jade Falcon DLC basically being Jade Falcon's MechWarrior 2 campaign. Only not quite verbatim, right? That's my guess. So, with that said, I'm looking forward to this either way. I'm a Clan Smoke Jaguar fan at heart. I just like to say that so people can eye roll a little bit. I understand why people give Smoke Jaguar a hard time, for sure. But I've always been a fan of them since the 90s, reading between the lines of what's been said and how they are, especially with them coming back nowadays. I'm really, it's really cool. But the point of that tangent is to say that while, yes, Smoke Jaguar through and through, that means at the end of the day, though, I am a clan fan through and through. So getting more seat time with the clans with another DLC, I'm really looking forward to. So, what are your thoughts? And bear in mind, this is November 5th. This is going up. So November 6th at around 7:30-ish Eastern Standard Time, I'll be doing a little bit of streaming here on YouTube. So definitely come by, hang out, say hi. It's just a chill thing to chat. And I'll just be gaming while we chat. And it'll be the Smoke Jaguar campaign. I'm doing a advanced mission parameter tonnage run. After that one, now with this announced, depending upon how far I can get, I would like to finish that campaign and do the Ghost Bear campaign on stream as well prior to the launch of this DLC. We'll see how that works, so that's a lot to do in a short amount of time. So we'll see. But in any case, some food for thought for you there. Definitely let me know what you think about this DLC. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what camo patterns we can unlock on what mechs. Like Beta Galaxy Clan Wolf, Alpha Galaxy Clan Wolf. I'm looking forward to seeing all that stuff. And I'm also looking forward to the really cool cinematics, especially since we are Natasha Kerensky's unit. We'll probably get some Natasha Kerensky dialogue, and that's always cool. So let me know your thoughts. Thanks so much for tuning in and stopping by. And until next time, take care.